The Stock of the Day is brought to you by IG, Australia's #1 CFD provider. With over 17,000 markets and extended trading hours, turn US earnings season volatility into opportunity. Get started at IG.com.
Stock of the day is Liontown Resources, the company narrowing its first half losses, hitting 22.6 million, less than the more than 31 million posted in the prior year. Liontown's first half revenue coming in at just over $100 million. The battery minerals producer previously downgrading its production rate owing to low prices for spodumene concentrate and lithium chemicals. The half-year result follows commencement of production at the company's new Kathleen Valley mine in WA in July last year, with its maiden shipment in September. And Liontown, which does count Gina Reinhardt among its key shareholders, said it would revise down its production rate to 2.3 million tonnes per annum from the end of FY25 in response to the low price environment for lithium chemicals. So, what do our experts think? Richard, let's start with you. Lithium, we know how difficult that space has been. Is there any turnaround in sight?
Well, I think what we're seeing is a lot of production that would have come on, maybe not coming on now, as we're seeing. Well, Kathleen Valley's kind of slowing production. So, but on the other hand, we're also seeing lots of mines that would have gone ahead, sort of not going ahead. So, I guess the dynamics, the supply dynamics, still remain in place. It's just that supply is shrinking. So when the market does turn, like this sort of stock will be in a great position. Like we call this stock Liontown like a kind of mini version of Pilbara Minerals, because it's got similar kind of production dynamics like hard rock, but it's at an earlier stage, so it's higher risk. But I guess when it does turn, this sort of stock will get a much higher reward.
So, yes, what? Not interested at the moment, but
we've got all our lithium plays on hold.
Yep.
And I guess what we want to see is some positive price movement. From the lithium price, we are seeing
and then what you would potentially buy Liontown.
It's just a waiting game. Like we've got a position in Liontown, in Pilbara, and in another one that I just can't think of at the moment. But what we have seen recently is Rio Tinto kind of purchasing a big development, in Argentina. So we are seeing corporate activity in this space, which means that people who are, dare I say it, much more knowledgeable than Luke and I are investing big in the space. Certainly Rio Tinto, it doesn't get any bigger.
All right, yeah, but not yet for you.
We're a hold. We want to see some more positive activity on the price, Andrew.
Luke?
Yeah, look, a very tough sector, and it's resources, right? Supply and demand. A few years ago when lithium was booming, the focus was on the demand side, and of course, here comes the supply wave to match that. And as Rich points out, South American supply, Pilbara supply, it's certainly come online. But I think what's made it so tough for these businesses is potentially China being an irrational competitor. You read stories about Chinese production, potentially being below cost and subsidised by the government, subsidised by their battery manufacturers. That sort of activity makes it very hard for any companies, in the Western worlds to compete, without that sort of price response. The result today was, it was ugly. It's sort of still ramping up, so you still got a lot of costs from bringing your production online. Obviously, the price is probably still below where they need it to be to be making any sort of decent returns on investments. But I agree with Rich. If you're there, not just Liontown here, probably more of a comment for the whole space. If you're in the lithium space right now, I think you sort of just have to ride this out, because it's the nature of the commodity cycle. The news just only appears to be getting worse and worse, but it's usually the time when it bottoms and starts to turn around. So I would prefer the guys like Pilbara, like Liontown, which Pilbara obviously already in production, Liontown ramping up right now. Once that price turns, they'll be well positioned to make the most most of it. I think Rich makes a very good point as well. Like one thing to look at is corporate activity in the space. Look for those players that are looking to invest counter-cyclically, and you certainly saw Rio do that the other week. So, potentially, as you said, people smarter than us looking around the space, seeing the bottom in the price, seeing the bottom in the commodity. So I'll call it a hold, but it's a tough hold for the lithium players right now. Particularly, you look across some of the other commodities like gold and the precious metals, and you're wondering, you're sort of stuck in the lithium plays. But let's say a hold for the program, Andrew.
Yeah, particularly, I guess, if you've ridden it down to these levels, then, obviously you're hoping for that brighter day. That is our stock of the day, Liontown Resources.
Brought to you by IG. Turn volatility into opportunity this US earnings season with extended trading hours on over 110 key US shares. Get started at IG.com.